This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2, 1. Welcome to DBL. It is
Friday.
Thank you. 2 people clapping in the studio. That's what I like, that kind of energy.
It's a party, y'all. It's a party.
It's like my stand-up shows in LA. Okay. I'm Tori here with Erica, and Brandon joins us from home. Everyone looking fabulous in marigold and almost into loamy brown. How you doing, Brandon?
I wish I didn't have to social distance right now, so I could be in the studio partying with y'all, because Erica looking like a nice Oscar statue right now. I see you with the bronze girl.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks.
And I look good too. Here we go. Today, millions of Americans are set to lose the $600 federal boost in unemployment. As of our taping right now, there has been no deal reached to extend the aid. Dr. Anthony Fauci and other officials are testifying before Congress right now about the coronavirus crisis. We want to show you some of what Fauci said about why America really hasn't been able to replicate the success that Europe has seen. Let's take a listen.
If you look at what happened in Europe when they shut down or locked down or went to shelter in place, however you want to describe it, they really did it to the tune of about 95+% of the country did that. When you actually look at what we did, even though we shut down, even though it created a great deal of difficulty, we really functionally shut down only about 50% in the sense of the totality of the country.
That is sobering. I want to show you, before we get into discussion, a school video here. This is in Florida, and this is what might schools look like when we come back. So we have kids sitting at separate desks. They're walking single file, 6 feet apart. Any teacher will be in a face shield. And then at school, cafeteria, alone at the tables there. And a lot of people, parents are very upset, saying this is really scary. I don't think it's any scarier than a shooter drill, which I think might be incredibly traumatic to kids. But is America ready to take this as seriously as needed? What do you think, Brandon?
I think we are. I think, but like Fauci said, I think 50% of us are, because there's always going to be some sort of blowback whenever you try and implement some sort of plan on how to get not only the country running again, but for this circumstance right here for schools. I've talked to some school officials, people on the boards of schools, and a lot have agreed to say that they're not ready just yet, but at the same time, they're talking about how hard it is to get kids to learn via Zoom meeting rooms, Tori. So anytime you're going to try and roll some sort of plan, and it's the original plan, of course there's going to be a huge blowback, and we're all in unprecedented times right now.
Yeah.
So I know there's going to be that blowback, but I'm one of those people that I feel as though if the right precautions are put in place, kids, if they can, should be in school.
Okay, I feel that, but why is it no blowback from any other country? Why is our country the blowback country, right, Erica?
We're the blowback country.
Is that
Tori.
our slogan?
No, because we're so divided.
Yeah.
And until we take the politics out of what isn't a political conversation, we're talking about a virus who doesn't care who you voted for. And the real thing is going to be, we're going to have to hit rock bottom. It's just a matter of what that rock bottom is. If you notice, people are only affected by what affects them. So until we get to a place where it's going to be a very scary and tragic place, because so many Americans are going to be personally affected, whether it be them or their loved ones getting ill, or fatalities, or the cost of living, or whatever it is, everyone's going to have to be personally affected to say enough is enough. Everybody needs to shut down. And until that happens, we're just going to be going back and forth on this issue, acting like this is the way it's going to be. I'm very concerned about these children in terms of interpersonal communications and socialization. We are already in a place where kids are already Everything is on the screen.
Yeah.
They don't know how to communicate. And now we have them going single file, not being able to have any type of interpersonal communication, even though they can see each other. I already do this thing and walk past my neighbors just out of habit. And I'm an adult and I know how to socialize. So when you're talking about children in their formative years socializing in this way, I really worry about the impact.
I do too, and I'm an adult and I don't know how to socialize well, but I still do that. But I will say this, 50% ain't gonna cut it in this country. We gotta be at 95%, like Fauci said. The blowback country. Let us know what you guys think on Facebook and YouTube. Speaking of sports that we were not talking about, the NBC restarted its season last night. And this is what we saw. It was fascinating. All the players were joined by coaches and game officials, all of them taking a knee during the national anthem. It happened at both games last night. Afterwards, this is what superstar LeBron James had to say about it.
Cat was someone who stood up when times wasn't comfortable, or people didn't understand. People refused to listen to what he was saying. It had absolutely nothing to do about the flag. It had absolutely nothing to do about the soldiers, that the men and women that keep our land free. He explained that, and the ears were closed. People never listened. They refused to listen, and I did.
I did. By the way, I said NBC returns. Obviously, my mistake. It's NBA. Check out the jerseys worn by players last night. Their names were replaced by social justice messages, including equality, say their names, and Black Lives Matter. Former NFL athlete Brandon London, what do you have to say about this enormously quick turnaround from hating on Kaepernick to every single person taking a knee?
You know, we talked about this before on the show. We've talked about it being you hope that the BLM movement wasn't a trend. You're hoping that people taking the knee during the anthem wasn't a trend. And what I'm seeing that people are all the way in. I mean, you've got the NBA, you've got the NCAA who's going to allow their college football athletes to wear social justice messages behind them. Hey, the NFL is coming up. You know that the players from the NFL are going to either take a knee or trying to put out their message when it comes to social justice and social justice reform as well. So I tip my hat to these guys. I tip my hat to the LeBron Jameses, because he's one of those people who not only does he put his money where his mouth is, the man built a school for kids. You know, and education reform was one of the messages that were on one of the players' backs for the Boston Celtics, Gordon Hayward. So this Black Lives Matter movement, I feel as though has sparked a movement for everyone to come forward and to really sit and be able to tell people what they feel about the social injustices that are going through, not only in their worlds here, but also in other countries as well, because the NBA has multiple players from other countries.
Internationally. That's a great point. Erica, all I could think about was echoing in my head of Laura Ingraham. Just shut up and dribble. Shut up and dribble. And then you see that. And I thought, bam. Bam.
Everyone kept saying, America needs sports. We need to be able to concentrate on something else. And the athletes are saying, no, this is the point. You're not going to concentrate on something else.
Right.
Because there are so many Laura Ingrahams who were shut up and dribble. We don't want to hear from the athletes. And they're saying, we are not your property.
Right.
We are not here for just your entertainment. This is our gift, our skill sets. And yes, we are happy to be able to play. We are blessed to be in this situation that we've worked so hard to earn our places on the field, on the court. But at the same time, I am a black man. I am a person who, supports Black Lives Matter. We need to make sure that we're not looking at people as if they're some pawns in a game. This life is not a game. And I commend the NBA for doing exactly what all sports seem to be doing, is saying, no, sports are not going to be used as a break or an escapism from what's happening in our world. We are going to integrate it together.
I totally agree with you, and I think that's a great point, is that we are not your property. We are not your property. Our skill set is what makes you wealthy. That is on us, and we are human beings. And I think Laura Ingraham just choked on her words, in my opinion. Well, before we go to break, we've got a viral video to share. This is a Good Samaritan rushing to the rescue of a man trapped in a burning car. He manages to then grab the guy in the car. Are you ready? Gets him out, then goes back to get him clear of the car. This all went down in St. Louis. The driver is okay, and all he had was a scratch on his finger before the car exploded. That is incredible. Brandon, could you do this? Could you be this person? I could be this person, right? I could.
I could be this. I could be this person. Fear of flight. When you see one of your human beings, your fellow human beings, sitting there going through that. I don't care if you're Republican, Democrat, gay, black, white, blue, green. I will come in there and I will pull you out, because at the end of the day, I don't see color. I see another person that bleeds and has feelings just like me in distress.
Wow. Well said. I hope we all would do that. Cheers to that, man. Cheers. Coming up on DBL, we got to talk about it. The Ellen Show is dealing with some major behind-the-scenes drama as allegations of a toxic workplace come to light. But what's Ellen saying about it? And take a look at this very empty studio. The majority of our employees are still working from home to help stop the spread of COVID-19, and we thank them all. We'll be right back.
Do you have a life insurance policy?
Work environment. So in a letter to her staff, Ellen said she intended her show to be a, quote, place of happiness. She also said, as we've grown exponentially, I've not been able to stay on top of everything, and I've relied on others to do their jobs as they knew I'd want them done. Clearly, some didn't. That will now change, and I'm committed to ensuring this does not happen again. So if you didn't know, an internal investigation at Warner was also found that there were some deficiencies in the show's day-to-day management, and actually staffing changes have already been made. I have a lot to say about this. I want to get to you too. Erica, what do you have to say about this? Has been going on. If you're ever in LA, you've heard these rumors from people that it's not a great place to work.
Yeah, you know, people are asking, like, is it just Ellen? Because it couldn't be just Ellen. I'm sure it's not just the Ellen Show. I'm sure there's many more.
Right.
But Ellen, I think the reason why people came out so fast and furious and persistent is because it's seen as the happy place.
Totally.
It's seen as the perfect place. So if you are in a situation where people are like, oh, you're so lucky to be working there, and you're like, I'm not lucky to be working there because they treat me like crap.
Right.
I'm marginalized, I'm minimalized, and now everyone thinks that there's this shiny coat of paint, then it's only a matter of time before the rumblings start to get louder. And that's exactly what happened. People need to understand that we are in a system where we're saying we're not doing things the way that they've always been done. It's an antiquated system. And now with companies coming out and investors like looking at ESG, which is environmental, social, governance, that's social responsibility for corporations. Investors are giving money based on how you fare in that test. So everyone should be doing an audit.
Everyone should be doing an audit. And my thought on this is, I've known a lot of friends that have been pages and interns on the Ellen Show. You might love Ellen, and I'm not trying to take anything away. I did stand up because of Ellen DeGeneres' stand-up. I find that outrageous that you are in charge of a company in which you are so out of it that you didn't realize that for years, and I'm talking years, you stamped on people, you didn't give them the right of way, you had harassment in your building, I'm not talking sexual, but other types, and you didn't know about it. Shame on you. The buck stops with you. If Oprah, i.e. Harpo, which is her name backwards, had this at her company and she didn't know, that would be on her and she would accept that responsibility. I don't think the apology goes far enough. Brandon, wanted to get your take. I have a very strong opinion about this. So what is your take on this?
Well, we all have our egos, I feel like, you know, and I don't, in the article that I read, or multiple articles that I read, it said it wasn't all Ellen, it was different producers and all. So when you get an ego and then you get a position of power, you look down on people and you think you can talk to people any way you want to. And I was raised to treat the janitor the same way you'll treat the CEO. And that's why I'm so, well, when we can be in studio, that's why I'm always joking around and playing with everyone. You want to be cool with everyone because at the end of the day, our production, DBL, which we love so much, we're stuck in that box for so long throughout the day. We have to love each other. We have to be able to communicate with each other. So I'm just glad to be on a show like this. But when ego gets power, it's a bad recipe.
It is. And you know what? To me, it lands on Ellen's desk. That's my opinion. Please write us in if you disagree. We'd love to hear it. We'll be right back.
Ladies, what's the first thing you take off when you
Welcome back to DBL. Alicia Zellner is a Colorado police officer as well as a black woman living in America. After the killing of George Floyd in late May, Alicia noticed that many black officers like herself struggle to find ways to honor their identities both in and out of uniform. So she grabbed a helmet, her bike, and began cycling to raise awareness for Black Lives Matter. She tells Lindsay Granger her story. check it out.
Corporal Alicia Zellner, welcome to Daily Blast Live.
Hello, hello.
How's it going? So I have to ask you, as someone who's a part of the Black community, but also a part of the police force, how are you doing right now?
You know, now that it's closer to the end of the month of July, you know, I'm doing a lot better than I think I started in the very beginning of June when everything really started to explode. But cycling's really helped me find my voice, helped me do some self-care, and that's where I've been meditating and just feeling free.
And I want to learn a little about your story. What made you get into police work?
Growing up, I've always kind of loved the criminal justice system. Law and Order Special Victims Unit was like my favorite show. I'd like to say that Olivia Benson is my spirit animal, but it was truly Dr. Wong, who was the forensic psychologist on the show, who drew me into wanting to understand why criminals commit crime. And so for me, it was kind of thinking like, I have this unique skill set of working with individuals in crisis and in mental health issues in the hospital. You know, I think that that could be very useful out there on the streets.
So do you experience tension when you're in uniform as opposed to when you're out of uniform?
The easy answer to that is yes. The more complicated answer to that is it's complicated. And unless someone is literally in my shoes, it's really hard for people to understand.
And I want to ask you, some officers have kneeled, have joined protests. Why did you choose cycling?
You know, I think, you know, one of the things that has very little been mentioned through all this, you know, as we're being berated in the media and on social media of all of these images and things that are happening, choosing cycling to be a part of this movement was my way of finding peace within all of this.
So what kind of people are on your bike ride? Are you seeing diversity like we've seen in the protests in age, in race?
Yes, absolutely. We have everyone from the older generations to the younger generations. I think the youngest person we had complete the community awareness ride for us was 6 years old. But many of them came up to me during the ride and just kind of thanked me for having a place to have a voice in the movement during a time in which, you know, we have to remain neutral in so much.
And before we let you go, I have to ask you, what do you want people to know about yourself being a Black police officer in America?
Oh man, where does one even begin? I mean, that's a heavy question. That's a great question. Again, I think, you know, the word complex is one of my favorite words of talking about all this. You know, being an officer in color, it's not about picking a side. It's about wanting to make a difference. I think it's the same thing that you would find, you know, a Black doctor or an actor. You know, they would say the same thing. You know, we're here, we're trying to make a difference, and the work is difficult, but you know, that's where change starts.
Thank you, Corporal Alicia Zellner, for being so honest, sharing your story, and congratulations on the 400-mile mark.
Thank you so much. We actually just hit 500, so we're still rolling all the way through the end of July.
If you want to learn more about Alicia's initiative, Black Rides for Black Lives, go to her GoFundMe page. All the proceeds are being donated to several different organizations fighting for racial justice. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by...
When my hair
cars could soon be a reality in New Hampshire. We're chatting about it in today's DBL Drive, sponsored by who, y'all?
Car Shield.
That's right. New Hampshire's governor recently signed a bill into law making them the very first state in the nation to allow flying cars. They're the cars you see here on your screen, but they're still in the early design stage. That doesn't make me feel any better. Don't expect to see cars hovering over your head anytime soon. The law just makes it possible for them down the road. When it comes to your car, for peace of mind, get an auto protection plan with Car Shield. Car Shield protects their members from the high cost of auto repairs. Call 1-800-505-9619 for free quote. So I was really harsh about Ellen, Erica, and I wanted to get some other comments. Ray's Vibe says it's not all ice cream and puppy dogs at any workplace. I'm sure behind the scenes there's a couple DBL hosts who don't care for each other. And someone else said Ellen went through a lot on the way to where she is, said sensitivity training. And again, everything I said was alleged. It was my opinion. It's a strong one. But yeah, every workplace has their problems. I just don't think every workplace is denigrating to their staffers. I got the nod. Yes. DBL's new every day. We'll see you same time, same place on Monday.